Yo, this is Skull Crashing Finale, not crushing. Please subscribe to me up there, like down there, comment down there. Always interested in what you've got to say, as I am a proud member of the YWWC, the YouTube wrestling community, and I like to have debates down there. And in these debates, there are very little things that people, every YouTube viewer, will agree on. And one of the things they will agree on is the best in-ring competitor in the world is the person I'm going to be talking about in this video, the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson as he used to be called. Bryan has amazed a number of loyal indie fans, along with the popularity surge he's gained from joining the WWE. And to think it was all because he choked that, what's his name, Justin Roberts with a tie. Bryan's huge popularity led him to be reinstated into the WWE when he got fired originally, if you can remember. He made an immediate impact, entering the Team WWE versus Nexus at SummerSlam. Bryan was the best performer in my opinion in that match, and it started his feud with The Miz, and in that pay-per-view the feud continued and effectively ended when Bryan submitted Miz at 2 straight pay-per-views. After the feud with Miz, Bryan established himself as a pay-per-view performer of the night. Bryan put on great matches with Dolph Ziggler and Ted DiBiase. Despite this, Bryan hasn't sustained a feud since the one with The Miz. The US champion has been placed on an on-screen relationship with Gail Kim. From the looks of last week, will be feuding with Sheamus in the not so distant future. The question is, should we be happy about it? And my answer is no. It's been well documented that Sheamus isn't too popular with creative nowadays, and has been squashed a number of times since winning the King of the Ring. His record since winning the King of the Ring is 18-1, and his one match he won was a tag match, and it was against ridiculously bad, I can't remember what it was, but he's only won one match since that and lost 18. Bryan picking a win over a falling star like Sheamus doesn't mean as much as it would have months ago. Some question if Bryan can ever become the WWE champion. The majority perception is that Bryan will suffer from the person, I'm not going to mention their name, but you know who I'm talking about, effect. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'll give you a clue. This person at WrestleMania 20 beat Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a triple threat match. Great wrestler, but we all know what he did. Anyway, moving on from that. The best wrestler on the roster was him, whether you like it or not. Horrible person, but he was. But lacks the charisma to remain a top level star. They're very similar, but Bryan's a much nicer guy. Some have gone as far as to say Bryan will win after years of wrestling for the WWE. At 5'10" and 159 pounds, Bryan doesn't fit the big man standards in the WWE. Bryan's popularity may help him, as in the case of Rey Mysterio. He didn't receive an automatic push, but his popularity received incredible lengths to where the WWE would be clueless to leave him in the mid-card. In other cases, like the greatest wrestler, in my opinion, as a massive Jerichoholic. In other cases, like Y2J, and explosive personality aided in maintaining a main event push. Starting on the A show Raw, whether you like it or not, it is the A show, makes it more difficult for Bryan to expand because of the number of talent. If Bryan would have started on SmackDown, his chances as World Heavyweight Champion may have been through the roof. You see, they had Kane as the champion, didn't they? He could. You telling me Bryan isn't better than Kane? Kane's probably better than mic skills, but if you ask most people, full package, I think Bryan's better. Being a relatively small name in the WWE won't allow Bryan to replace someone like Orton or Miz. From his anger and emotional rollercoaster against Michael Cole to the serious demeanor of last week's backstage with Sheamus, Bryan can certainly improve in the charismatic area. We almost reached perfection months ago. Before suffering a hip injury, creative plans called for CM Punk to feud with Daniel Bryan. Talk about the two best wrestlers in WWE. If this feud was allowed to take place, this is when CM Punk got injured and went to commentary. That could have really helped him. That could have really helped Daniel Bryan. Because he's the best heel in the company, CM Punk, in my opinion. The WWE gave us a glimpse of the feud at the beginning of the Royal Rumble. The majority of fans on social networking sites displayed a deep trait of Marxism, which is like communism if you didn't know, when they learned Bryan and Punk would open the show. Because of Punk's business affairs with Randy Orton, Bryan is left by his lonesome. It's almost certain that Bryan will take on Sheamus at WrestleMania. Can't really think of anyone else. Maybe Ted DiBiase. Or, if it's there, he will compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match. In the end, talent does beat the look. And if Bryan's ability will make up for any flaws in his gimmick, Bryan will be a main event star, but not at the moment. But in the not so distant future. Do I think he'll win the World Championship? My answer to you is yes. But you're going to have to wait. I'm SUSCRIBE. This is my 49th video. My 50th video will be next, and it'll be a Q&A to celebrate that feat. Thank you for watching. Subscribe up there, like down there, comment down there. Probably disagree with me, but there you go.